Okay, this video is going to talk about the DecimalFormat class, and we'll be using this pretty soon in our programs. So the first thing is the DecimalFormat class is used to control the number of decimals displayed on the screen. So if you want to print a decimal that only has 2 decimal places or 5 decimal places or 3, you can make that control with the DecimalFormat class. And it automatically adds symbols like $signs and other symbols that you can make it show up automatically on the print screen because of using this class. And then you use this in print statements, not for values of variables. So the important thing here is that if you have, let's say in your memory location, you have a memory location, some variable, and it's got, let's say the value of it is 4.3111789, etc., etc. So it's a huge number. Well, it doesn't matter in the computer memory that that's going on. That's no big deal. But what if you print that on the screen? Maybe on the screen you don't want it to have all those decimal places. And so on the screen you might say, you know, I want to make it so that it prints a $sign and then it has only 2 decimals because that's what numbers have, or money has. So maybe it says $4.31. Well, you can use the DecimalFormat class to take this value and convert it to look like this on the screen. Okay, so, whoops. Okay, in order to use the DecimalFormat class, you have to have an import statement. And it's just like the scanner class when we had an import statement. In fact, I just put this up now. We have, here's our import statement for the scanner class right here. And so this is our import statement. And then here's the declaration of the scanner object. Okay, so the scanner class was declared like this. Our DecimalFormat class is going to have a similar situation here. If I get this thing to work. Import java.text .decimalFormat. So this is what you want to write down for as far as the import statement. Okay, so instead of java.util, it's java.text. And then the scanner is always, this is always going to be the name of the class right here that we're importing. This is the class name. Now a class has objects. In fact, you declare objects, and we'll talk about that in a second. But for right now, there's another way. I want to introduce you another way to do an import statement. Instead of the class, let's do it like this. Instead of the class right here, you can remove that class and replace it with an asterisk. And so that would make it a lot easier and simpler. So java.text itself has many classes, has several classes that you can use. And so when you do the import like this, this means it imports all the classes. So you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes that you can use. And then you only just pick one of them. I'm going to use the DecimalFormat class. So this only brings in the DecimalFormat class, so you can't use any other java.text classes unless you do a different import statement for them. So this is, either way it will work, and it doesn't matter. Some people like it different ways. So let's go on to the next thing and declare a DecimalFormat object. Just like every class can have objects. And so here's our scanner object. And if you'll notice that we started with the class name, and then we named the object from that class, and then we go new, and then we do the class again, and then we have a parentheses, you have an argument. This one is called system.in. So what happens with decimal format is, again, you start with the class. Just like scanner, now you have decimal format. DF is what we're going to use for the name of our objects, our scanner objects, but you can name them whatever you want. But I like DF because it's short, and D stands for decimal, F for format. It's quick and easy to use. And then you have the new, just like this has new. And then you have the name of the class again. And then you have parentheses. In here, these two zeros mean that you want the number to have 2 decimal places. If you put 3 zeros, then the output will be 3 decimal places, etc. This number symbol means you could have as many numbers as you want. You could have 6 numbers, 0.00, doesn't matter. That you can have some number, point, and then you have 2 decimal places. The other thing is that we have quotation marks on here, and so quotation marks mean that what's inside will be printed. In this case, it's going to be the symbol that will be printed specifically. Somehow, the decimal format class applies the number symbol .00 to a Hurricane decimal and makes it look like just have 2 decimals on it. So it does that, but it also prints the dollar symbol. Alright, so very important to remember the quotation marks anytime you use the decimal format class. Alright, if you want commas, if you want to have 1, 2, 3 number symbols and then a comma and then another number symbol, and then this means every three numbers it'll put a comma, just like we write our numbers. So if you have 12,420, it will be a 12, comma 420, and then you'll have 2 decimal places. Alright, so that's how that works. Now, in here, let's get rid of, oops. Oh, I know this is from. This is from here. Alright, now the decimal format example. Here's how it works. Let's say you've got your scanner object declared, you've got the import statement. Now you have a variable, it's a double, handles decimals. The variable name is money, and the variable has been assigned a calculation. Now if you calculate this in the calculator, it will get a long Hurricane decimal. So if you want to print this as money, you don't want it to say 3.7868162. You want it to say $3.79. This is how you want it to look. So you apply the decimal format like what we had before with the quotation marks and the dollar sign and then the number symbol and the 0.00. So you have all that. With that decimal format is going to be applied to this. So we go to the name of the object, which is df dot, and then format. So just remember df dot format. That's what you'll be using all the time. And then inside here's the variable that has the long Hurricane decimal. So it's going to apply. It's going to apply this format to this decimal and make it look like that. And so we go on, and so let's take a look at an example. So here's an example in here. So here's the import statement up here, and here's the decimal format object. Here's 3 variables, and then in here we're going to ask the user for input. So what the purpose of this program is to calculate the cost per hour to get your car fixed. So we're going to ask you, the user, how many hours did it take to fix it, what was the cost to fix it, and then the program is set up to find out the cost per hour. And so in the cost per hour, we're going to have a calculation, a cost to fix divided by the hours to fix. Well, as you know, that will be quite a decimal that will show up. And so in here, we'll put a print statement that's going to print that decimal, because cost per hour is going to be a decimal. We're going to print that decimal right now. So I'm going to clear this. We're going to run it. And we have a problem here. All right, we'll try that again. Okay. So it says how many hours to fix the car. So I'm going to type in 7.5 hours. And then it says enter the cost to fix the car. So we're going to go $623.13. Alright, so here you have a decimal, 83.084, which is, that's not so bad. If I would use weirder numbers, it would have been worse. So that's, so this is a longer decimal than, let's say, that we want. Alright, so then what happens is we can use this line right here, and we're going to apply the df.format to it, put the cost per hour in here, and I'm going to make a worse decimal this time, you'll see. And so here we are, enter the hours to fix the car, 9.3, and the cost was $574.37. And so this first number had no application of the decimal format object, and this one did. So you can see the difference in how it looks, and that's really that's the advantage of using the decimal format class. And then finally, if I want to do a concatenation, that also will work. And so we can do literal strings, and then we can do the df.format right inside of here. So we may want it to say my car costs so much per hour to fix. And so here we are, we're going to run that again. And so here, hours to fix, 6.4, cost 542.11. So here's the big Herkin decimal. It's in the variable memory location. Here's the application of the decimal format, and then here it is in a concatenation situation. Alright, that's the decimal format class. Hope you took good notes, because we will use this in our programs.